Let's talk about Lillia. Lillia is League's newest jungler added to the PvE just yesterday. My community got together to test her out, see what she can do, and optimize what we can in a single play session. I've looked at no resources outside of my own experiences, and everything on the PvE is subject to change, so take this video with a grain of salt, but hopefully it should help you start prancing around the rift as soon as she releases. First, her abilities. Her passive applies a 5% max health dot effect to any champion she hits with her abilities. Very simple, but very important later. Q is similar to Darius's Q. Hit the inner edge and you deal magic damage, hit the outer edge and you deal bonus true damage. The true damage and magic damage have exactly the same values at all ranks. The ability comes out very quickly, so if you're going to Q flash, you can't delay your flash at all. Q also has a passive effect that grants Lillia a stacking move speed buff whenever she lands an ability. These stacks are significant and define Lillia's entire playstyle, but they fall off quickly. We'll come back to these. Max Q first. W is a short and slow dash ending in a radial skill shot that simply deals damage. You cannot use this ability to get over walls. The center of the ability deals triple damage, meaning that the ability's ratio technically also increases on the sweet spot. I believe that maxing W second is the way to go. E is a skill shot that explodes into a cone when it makes contact with anything, damaging and slowing enemies. The ability has global range, but stops in the first wall or enemy hit. However, you can throw it over a single wall. R puts all enemies affected by your passive to sleep after a 1.5 second delay, slowing while they're drowsy. Like Zoe, they'll take bonus magic damage when they're woken by being hit. She's got a very simple but very fun kit. AP ratios for these abilities are 40, 30, 40, and 30% respectively. She's got low ratios overall, but the Q is spammable, and W's sweet spot has a 90% ratio instead, so there's still value in having some raw AP. But before we get into itemization, I'll show you what I've discovered with abilities. All of Lillia's abilities have very short cast times, so they chain fairly nicely. EW comes out fast, if you can get into melee range of someone. Usually E is setting up your ganks if you're even ganking at all. QW feels like a much more practical setup since you can hit the sweet spots of both if you cast from the right range. Another important thing to remember is that R has no max range, which means you can ER from a long distance to set up picks, which becomes very important as the game goes on. I found this setup very useful. You won't find a lot of complicated ability combos given her high cooldowns on everything but Q, but don't forget Q's passive. You may be thinking, what does this champion even do? She has poor ganks without ult, no sustain, and doesn't seem to be able to duel anyone in the jungle. But this champion is fast. Her clear speed is insane, especially since she can just get from camp to camp in the blink of an eye. She can power farm very effectively, which at the time I'm recording this, fits very well into the current jungle meta. She seems to want to exploit this move speed to constantly get in and out of fights, and her ult reinforces this. Spread your passive with your AoE, pop ultimate, run away while they're drowsy, re-engage with your team when they fall asleep. A quick tip on the movement speed. When you hit something at max stacks, you'll notice that the buff doesn't completely refresh. Instead, if you can spare the time and you're sure her passive won't kill the camp, get the last hit on your camps with Q as soon as your stacks have started falling off. That way you'll have a fully refreshed 5th stack which you can use to get wherever you please. Time for items. We didn't test a lot of them, but she seems to excel when you get durable. This champ has ergot range and no sustain, and though you can dodge skill shots and spells, no amount of move speed is going to stop an AD carry from clicking you. Her passive gives Leandries a lot of value, so I found success running Runic Echoes, Swiftness Boots, Leandries, and then building either tank or defensive AP items like Zhonya's or Banshees. We didn't manage to get full damage Lillia snowballing due to some skill disparities, and no one tried Cinderhulk yet, which I suspect could be viable given her generally low ratios and strong passive. Don't forget, this champ is not a mage, she's an AP bruiser. For runes, I tried Conqueror, and I do not recommend you do the same. Lily is a ranged champ, so she gets less effectiveness on it, and though you can instantly gain 4 stacks on Q hit from the passive application, she just can't keep the stacks up and profit from them. So far, it seems that Sorcery and Domination are her best trees. What do you get when you heal from a percentage of her percent max HP damage over time? A lot of healing. Ravenous Hunter and Celerity especially both reported insane values in postgame, and this is the page I had the most success with. Lots of move speed and healing. That said, we're not 100% sold on Phase Rush as the keystone. I think it's great, but it's possible Dark Harvest or Predator emerge as viable options. I feel confident in claiming you should be running Sorcery and Domination in all cases, though. We tried Lillia top and she did not win lane. It seemed to be a common theme that Lillia from behind in any role was very ineffective, but I'm not ready to claim that she must snowball yet. Our theory is that Lillia top could be a fine pick into tanks, but if she emerges as a solo laner in all contexts, I'd be alright with that too. Again, I'm a support main, there were skill disparities in our PvE games, and all of this info comes from my own experiences over one play session, but I do think there's enough little tricks here to at least help everyone establish a baseline in learning this champion. Please experiment and report back to me with anything exciting you may find about Lillia, but from first impressions, this champion is insanely fun, and I cannot wait to see more of her.